Hello. Yeah, we're on. This is, what's the name of the show? After Dark. Here on the Podzilla 1985 network. My name is Shannon Young. I'm going to be your host tonight. Give no fucks.
Clearly.
And with me tonight, we have Jesse Kimball.
I want to give more fucks.
Lindsay Wolfgong.
I'm cold, so what do? I go get ice cream.
And the blur formerly known as Shelby Kimball.
Why am I so blurry?
Why are you so blurry? I'm about to
You're
invite
pulling
Puddle of
that,
Mud
like,
here.
1980s filter.
Yeah, I've got to assume that the lens is smudged.
I guess so.
That's the. I need that filter on every picture I take. So it suggests the general shape of a human, and that they can't make out any of the flaws that keep me from being happy.
It's definitely got that like early 2000s webcam feel to it, like before we had HD.
That's what I need to do. Is I need to get a early 2000s webcam, get rid of this 4K nonsense that just shows off what an old millennial that I am.
You are one of the older. You're at the top of that bracket.
The old ass millennium is what I've been told. That's my
millennial, and I still maintain that you're extrapolating that. What I said about another person.
Oh, I didn't say you. I didn't say anything about you.
Oh, yeah, but we both know better.
You said that. That's circular usage. That's words you've said. Not joining us, I guess, Hunter Hendricks.
Did not?
I guess. I don't know. He said he'd be on around 8, and then no one replied to him. So maybe that's our bad. I'm sure he'll saunter on in here at some point, and he can regale us with stories of his hospital stay, which kind of explains why we haven't been doing a show for like 11 days now. I don't know what the other side of that is. The last show we did was, I think, on the 10th or the 12th, something like that.
I don't even remember.
It was, pretty sure it was Pro Wrestling Unscripted. It might not have been. I honestly don't remember. I'm going to look it up real quick, because I'm kind of interested. Let me see. It was I Want to Believe on February 13th, so 10 days ago was our last show. It's not because we don't care. Of course we care. It's I honestly don't remember why we haven't done a show in 10 days, but we're back. Here we are.
Life has been kicking all of our butts.
Nah, that's not really an excuse. It's just laziness, honestly. It's just laziness.
Sometimes you just need to take a day off for some mental health.
Yeah.
Some well-being.
How does that feel? Because I haven't really been able to do that in months. Is that good? Does that work?
It does. It's pretty nice. I recommend it.
Well, you know us millennials.
We are literally all millennials here.
Well. I had
You're going to try to argue that you're a Gen Xer?
No, I've already tried that, and my ex-girlfriend went to extreme lengths to prove to me that I was a millennial. She did not appreciate the fact. I wanted to be Gen X. Gen X just sounds so much cooler than millennial. Millennial comes with certain expectations and disappointments. Gen X has always been like, that's where it's at right there. I don't know, what's the new one? Is it Gen Z? Is that what it is now?
Yeah,
fuck,
Gen Z is the...
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, everybody born after... Well, I say everybody. Because I'm sure there's now the... Whatever the next generation is going to be called.
Gen fuck up.
But... Yeah. Like... I thought we already had Gen fuck up, or is there going to be worse fuck up?
I'm pretty sure if it's humans, it's Gen fuck up. It's a repeating cycle over and over again. We're terrible creatures, and they should have ended us a long time ago. But here we are to ramble on about nothing in particular. Jesse, do you know who the motherfucker of the week is?
Is it my bank?
Yeah, actually, it is. Good call. I got nothing else. I was going for the bank. I was just about to say, your bank?
Because right now, yeah, they're definitely there for it.
Jesse, tell us the wonderful story about how you and the Shelbster went to this wonderful place and sold some cards, and you made some pretty good loot off of it. What happened there?
Yeah. So I have finally sold all of my Pokemon cards and a significant or most of my Magic cards. I literally just kept my Commander deck. Everything else I sold.
The dream is over.
What dream was that?
Of your Magic Kingdom. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Either way, I took it all to Gamers Bazaar. Highly recommend if you guys got some cards laying around you want to get rid of. It's a good place. They made it nice and easy for me. They seem to be pretty trustworthy. They very meticulously went through every card, gave me a really good offer, and I took it. I got $1,200. I was pretty happy with that. Me and Shelby grabbed a couple of games they had there. And then this was a Sunday night. I didn't want to have just like that amount of cash sitting with me. So I took it to the ATM to deposit it at my bank. It's ATM I've been using for a long time to deposit all my cash. I put the cash in the little feeder, and it made some weird noises. And then the light turned red, and an error message popped up on the screen and said that I needed to see a teller to finish my deposit. Obviously, I couldn't have done that. It was around like 10 o'clock on a Sunday, with the next day being a holiday, so I couldn't talk to anybody until Tuesday. And then I talked to them and like, well, the people come down and audit on Wednesdays. We'll let you know. So as of right now, like I just gave Commerce Bank $1,000. I'm confident that they'll find my money, but I feel like it should have been something that fairly immediately happened.
Oh no, wait! Commerce Bank is my bank. They can't be the motherfuckers of the week. I like them. They've helped me.
They have also been really good to me. Like I've got no complaints with Commerce Bank. I
ATM.
just need them to find my money.
Did you inform them that it's your money and you need it now?
I didn't because I fortunately didn't need it immediately. Didn't need it. I dropped something. So talk amongst yourself.
I can only assume that you need the rest of that money to complete Shelby's eventual light domination of that room, where it's just nothing but rainbow lights everywhere.
Oh, there's some green lights.
It's gonna look like a goddamn carnival there at some point. What did you drop that is so important?
My wedding ring.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's
You were
pretty
playing
important.
Too hard with it.
Oh, well. Hey, if you're back on the market, I know a guy. All right. Well, while they're looking, we found it. Okay. Thank God for Shelby. Thank God for Shelby. They're they're still looking. Oh,
all right, we got it.
She found it.
We got it. Ring is recovered.
She's giving the ring back to Jesse now.
I have my wedding ring back.
Right. He's a married man again. Sorry, ladies. You should have taken the opportunity when you had the chance.
You gotta stay married. That stays on.
Hey, look, a cat. Well, Shannon, I appreciate you shooting your shot, though. I couldn't take it seriously with this picture of a sad cat.
That is me.
Being the only thing that I can see.
That is me. God gives his hardest battles to his silliest clowns. And that is me. Jesse, forget about your troubles. Let's talk about me for once.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I've spent a few solid hours playing around. We're going into in tech news. I spent a few hours playing around with the PlayStation VR 2. And I'm ready to give you some thoughts on it.
Got yourself you grabbed the VR 2, did you?
I already had the VR 2 in waiting. I just needed it to be delivered. And it was delivered yesterday through UPS, UPS, no matter what time they tell you it's going to be delivered, it's going to be 6 o'clock. It could say 5 in the morning, it'll be 6 p.m. Every time I've had a delivery from UPS, it's 6 p.m. I don't know what the deal is. I'm just glad it didn't get delayed because of that huge wreck that they had yesterday. All right, so before I talk about the PlayStation VR, let me just tell this little story. I'm going to Chaffee here in Southeast Missouri. I'm going to Chaffee to have a meeting with Jason Wells and Brandon Barbwire about Cape Championship Wrestling. Now, to get to Chaffee from where I live in Cape Girardeau, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes. I spent an hour and a half on 1 mile before I finally quit and drove back home. Think about that. An hour and a half, and I barely went a mile. And that's because the entire, not just the interstate, but going onto the interstate was blocked off because two semis, one in each lane, flipped. And from what I understand, someone lost their life, so I'm not going to make fun of that. But it delayed traffic so badly that, yeah, a 10-minute drive took me an hour and a half before I finally quit and just went back home. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I turned into Dennis from It's Always Sunny. You know, whenever someone's slowing down, I'm just sitting there going, yeah, just move, you bitch!
Yeah, I can confirm there was one fatality. There's someone else in the hospital that's in critical condition. And from my source, it's not looking good.
My only guess is the winds were so bad yesterday that it just pushed that semi right off the road, because I saw it flipped over on its side as I'm driving that way.
It was a multi-semi pile-up at an exit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But yeah, wind and rain was real bad yesterday, and yeah, just caused a real bad accident.
So I come back from Chaffee, I'm at home, and about 30 minutes after I got home, they delivered my PlayStation VR 2. Now, I had already taken the initiative and purchased a few games for it, so I already had Gran Turismo 7, Kayak VR, or I think it's just called Kayak VR, it may have another name, No Man's Sky, and, Lindsay, what's the other one that I got? Oh, Horizon.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, well, that's good. Don't pay attention. I appreciate that.
All I know is you had me kayak and my arms hurt today.
She moved her arms like 3 times, and her arms hurt today.
Very out of shape.
But I got to mess around with it. It was very cool. So here's my review for the PS2 VR as of right now. For anybody listening that's interested in picking it up, it is the most comfortable VR headset I've ever worn, by far. Like, this thing, I could wear this thing all day, and it doesn't hurt. The way they've designed it is so brilliant. Every part of it
wasn't nearly as heavy feeling either.
It's not heavy. The I don't know what you call it. The material in between your forehead and the machine is very comfortable. Like I said, this is the most comfortable VR I've ever worn in my life. If you remember the original PlayStation VR, it hooked up through like 6 different boxes. You had 2 HDMI cables. You had multiple cables you had to put together. It's down to 1 USB-C cable now, which is fantastic.
USB-C is truly magical.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. I plan on marrying one in the near future, since, you know, that's my best shot at it, honestly. I do expect gifts, for the record.
I don't know, man. It's aiming pretty high. I mean, USB-C.
Well, I've only been told a million times what an amazing man I am, so it's time I cashed in my chips.
You know what? Yeah, you've earned it. You've earned USB-C.
Thank you. No more of this USB. What was the one before that? I can't remember.
So there's micro USB.
Yeah, that's
USB-A is the regular sized USB.
No, nobody wants that one.
And then there's mini USB was before that. That was the one that, like, your PlayStation 3 controllers.
The controllers themselves, now that you mentioned that, the PSVR 2, you really have to hold them to believe them. They're kind of like the Oculus controllers, except the little halo that goes up top fits around your entire hand now. It's like I said, it's hard to describe, but it's very, very cool. The controllers have haptic feedback. They have all of the things that the DualSense controller has. It has in those controllers, and the VR headset itself has haptic feedback and shit. Or I forget the exact term for it, because I think, because it's adaptive triggers are the other thing that the controller has. It's the haptic feedback, has it in the head. So, like, when I was playing Horizon, and as I went by like a tree, the tree hit me in the face, and I actually felt something hit me in the head as I went by. It was very, very cool, very immersive. The PSVR 2 was a lot of fun. I've spent most of my time on Gran Turismo 7. That's what I wanted it for the most, and it's just as cool as I thought it was going to be. I kind of want to get a steering wheel now just to get that full immersion. But racing, it's 120 frames per second, 120 hertz. It's HDR. They've got OLED screens, I believe, 4K OLED screens in each eye. It's amazing. It's just fantastic. It's gorgeous. It makes the Quest 2 look like it's like going from Dalton to Jesse. You know, it's a huge step up in quality. And
it depends on who you ask.
I've literally asked everybody, and they've all agreed. We did a poll on the website, and they all agreed that that you're
100% participation.
100%. Every American voted for Jesse Kimball. So yeah, it's really good. I'm gonna pick up a couple more things here in the future. I do want to play Resident Evil Village on it. That looks really fun. I also
want to be a Jedi.
I also don't want to play that. Tales from Galaxy's Edge or whatever. I have that on Quest, but everything that I've seen on Quest that's been ported over to the PlayStation VR2 looks so much better. So I'm definitely going to pick that up too. There's a bunch of things I want to get. Speaking of something that I want to get, joining us I don't know what that meant exactly, but joining us live via satellite from his home, Double H.
You want to get me?
Yeah, he just doesn't get us, you know. Hunter, I was telling them the story about my PSVR 2. I was sharing my experiences with it, and what a fantastic joy it is. What a fantastic experience I've had with it. Mm-hmm. Mostly, I was killing time till you got on, so you could tell us what happened to you. Jesse talked about his bank trouble. I've talked about the PS2 VR. Now it's your turn.
Yeah. Okay. My kidney made a thing that I don't want, and I'd like it to leave now.
Ooh, drink more
Can
water.
I just leave it at that?
Well,
no. I'll try to do. I'm never good at doing a short version. Also, this sounds like it's coming through my computer.
It does sound like that. Yeah.
Can you guys still hear me?
We can, but it does sound very tinny. Yeah.
Somebody say something though.
Hello. Hello.
We're all talking.
Yep. Muted my headphones. There we go. All right. No. Okay. Moving on. In late January, I was having some bathroom related issues, but it was constipation actually. So I thought, okay, I don't know what this is. That never happens. Checked with my doctor. She's like, try some Miralax. Did that. Seemed to work. No big deal. Move on with my life. About 3 weeks later, I start having similar issues again. Talk with her again. She says, you may not have enough fiber in your diet, etc. Increase that. Go back to the Miralax. It's not really helping or fixing anything. So I started developing this pain in my lower back. That was kind of off and on. It was like a pressure, not really a pain at first. And then on Tuesday, when I got to work at about 7:30, it kicked in and it did not go away. Like I kind of had it off and on this weekend, but it wasn't the end of the world or anything. But by the time that I got to work at 7:30 Tuesday, it kicked in, it stayed in, and I dealt with that. Oh my God, 6 hours, 7 hours, just like fingers crossed, praying to try to get out of work as soon as possible so that I could go somewhere. Someone came along and relieved me in my last hour. One of my bosses, and so got me and Sarah out of there. She took me to the ER, sat there for 2 hours, which was even more fun in the waiting room. They took me back. I had already looked into, I was under the impression, okay, this might be like what they call fecal impaction. Like it's gone from constipation to something that is literally, because I'm using the bathroom now, but I never feel empty. And so everything I read was like, that could be the case. You've got something that has stayed there. Importantly, when I gave up sodas last August, I also increased my coffee intake, a lot, to the point that I was drinking close to a pot a day and not thinking anything of it. Drinking a ton of water, but also drinking a ton of coffee. And they're like, that could do it, So go back, finally, after a couple hours, get checked in. They hook all the stuff up, run an x-ray, and the doctor comes back from the x-ray and he goes, okay, I'm going to give you a couple things real quick. I'm going to give you an anti-inflammatory, which is going to relieve that pain without making you loopy. And I'm going to give you something for nausea, because this kind of stuff can make you a little bit nauseous. And then almost casually on his way out of the room is like, yeah, we're pretty sure you got a kidney stone. I'll be back. It's like, I'm sorry, what? We got a what now? So yeah, they run me through a CAT scan to do a better look. Sure enough, 2 millimeter kidney stone in my kidney. I'm assuming the left, because that's where the pain was. They never said specifically. it's not like unheard of because again, coffee will cause those too, and that's the main thing that I think I'm eating / drinking that would do it. My dad had them, my grandpa had them, my aunt has them from time to time. She does, so I feel like it was almost inevitable. But the weirdest thing is, so I come home Tuesday night. I'm home now, so I come home Tuesday night. They sent me with some pain meds. They sent me with some antibiotics, some other stuff. They're like 2 millimeters is basically nothing. Like you might legitimately not even know when you pass it. Like I've got like a cool little sieve that's supposed to catch it in case I want to send it off to a urologist. But it is so like relatively small that it can cause a lot of internal issues. But when it goes, it just kind of goes. Like I'll feel it, but it may not hurt. But I hit the pain meds hard, like intentionally the way that they were giving them to me every like 4 to 6 hours. To the point that I was like loopy yesterday. I was nauseous, didn't eat very much, pretty much all day, kind of halfway ate a bowl of chicken soup and some other stuff, and I just couldn't get up. I felt like crap. So I stopped taking those because I wasn't feeling the pain anymore. That was the last pain pill I had was at 1:00 yesterday afternoon. Haven't taken one since. Haven't hurt since. I can feel like some pressure, which is now on my right side, which I hear is good. Because that means it's moving, like it's going where it's supposed to go, because it's got to go from the kidney through the ureters to the bladder through the thing. Thanks for coming. But I'm it's such a weird position. I'm not going to work tomorrow again, which is like my 3rd day in a row. I'm not hurting. Like I feel weird, but I'm not hurting. I feel like I'm just like waiting it out. And fortunately, everybody I've talked to who has had them is like, yep. Like if they've had more than one or had the situation, they're like that's what it is. It's just a waiting game until it happens. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That's why I'm here, honestly. I'm not hurting. I'm just kind of now, importantly, at some point in time, I might go bye and just disappear.
Living the dream, man.
Yeah.
You live in the dream we all wish we could live.
It's a great time.
How many times I've liked to say on this show bye and just and just stay disappeared. Oh well.
So, yeah.
I'm glad you're okay. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I
was going to say in the sense that nothing is actively happening right now, and evidently, even when it does, like it's probably not going to be again comfortable. But I keep hearing the doctor even told me like 2 millimeters. He's like, it would have to be 4 times the size of that for me to be concerned. Like, we'd have to be talking up around the 8 millimeter range. That's when you start worrying about blockage, when you start worrying about it, like, causing damage on the way out. My dad had one of those many, many years ago, and he told me outright, he's like, I don't want to scare you, but it was the most painful thing I ever went through. Like, I passed out on the bathroom floor. It was a whole deal. But 2 millimeters, I mean, my understanding is that, like, again, Sarah read through multiple accounts of people online who were like, I had one like that, and if I had not had something to catch it, I would never have even known when it came out. Like I felt it and it hurt, but early on. But so yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So that's why I'm drinking the cranberry juice. That's why I'm doped up on azo pills, eating cranberries. Like it's been a very fruit filled couple of days for me. Dude. Also got a ton of like high fiber shit in my house now that apparently I don't need like I thought I did. And then because my doctor was like, oh, you constipated, eat all kinds of, I got Fiber One cereal, man. I got it by the gallon. Like,
did they give you some? Did they give you some colon blow?
Well, what you really want is the super colon blow. Right. That's the important part. You want the good shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was another thing. It never really came back around to that, but I started reading some stuff today that was like, yep, this kidney stones can cause constipation because it just fucks up your entire system in there. Or it can cause symptoms of constipation. Like it can, not to mention the pain medicine I'm on causes it. The anti-nausea medication I'm on causes it. So yeah. Did that explain all of it up to then? Not necessarily. But importantly, again, when I started eating like a lot of fiber and that kind of related stuff, like I was using the bathroom, I just never felt empty. Yeah, it's because I had a little calcium deposit bouncing around in my kidney. So,
knock on wood, I'm shocked that I haven't had any issues like that, considering how much coffee I drink and like I don't.
You drink a lot of water too, though, right?
I drink at work now, especially. I go through probably 7 or 8 bottles of water a day. Yeah.
Yeah, I drink a hefty amount of water, but I mean, legitimately, it reached a point where I come in the morning, I turn on the coffee pot, I let it fill, and I had other people that were coming in and getting out of my workspace, cups of coffee, but it's like stagnant's not the right word. It's sporadic. Like they come in sometimes they don't. Um, so there are days that, not thinking about it, I just go over and refill it because it's there, and it tastes good. And I can drink coffee. I'll be drinking coffee from like 8 o'clock until straight up almost lunchtime. Like I'm finishing the last cup and then going to lunch. So
yeah, I think one of my favorite parts about all this is every time you tell this story, there's like always one person that challenges you on the coffee thing. They're like, "Oh, I drink a lot of coffee," and you go, "Okay." I can just see it in your face. You just go,
Right.
"Okay."
And I also, from what I understand, is there a genetic component to kidney stones? Because, like you said, your dad had them.
Yeah, some people are just more predisposed. I wouldn't call it straight up hereditary. That's actually so. What I was really concerned about when I started looking into when I thought I was just constipated and all that, I told you guys before, and I think I told the story on the show. My dad has diverticulosis, not itis, fortunately, not Brock Lesnar level itis, but basically the lower level diverticulosis, where there's like little pockets in his colon, like something has stuck there too long and it caused a divot. And, come to find out, that shit's hereditary, and so I was freaking out because I'm like, great. This is exactly where I am now, and he got it, when he was in his 60s, and I'm going to get it now before I'm even 40. But the doctor told me specifically after they did the CAT scan, he's like, "Nope, your colon looks fine." He's like, "I mean, there is like a little bit of like residual, for lack of a better term, without being too gross about it." But he's like, "I mean, if everything you've been taking has been related to that, plus you've had this kidney stone, none of that surprises me. There's nowhere near enough of that for me to even be concerned about it." So.
All right.
Yeah, no, the coffee thing is very funny to me too, because I'm like, no, I don't think you understand how much coffee I'm legitimately drinking.
Well, I
on a regular basis.
I don't understand why someone needs to challenge. Like, it's like sometimes I feel like you can't tell a goddamn story in this group without one person stepping up and challenging some part of it. Like, let me tell the goddamn story,
Sometimes
Tanner.
I'm that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Sometimes I start some shit and I'm like, why am I doing this?
I mean,
it's fine. Just move past it.
There's only one person that doesn't. That's Bob, and Bob. That's because Bob hardly ever says anything in general.
I take that back. No, you take that back because you know good and well if anybody said the thing they wanted to unalive themselves, Bob would be like, "Oh yeah, how you gonna do it?"
You ain't serious.
You ain't serious.
That is when he pops up. But I do think like that's been a thing with our generation in general for a little while. Is just the amount of like. Yeah, it's a competition of like, how worn out you are, how tired you are, like how much like.
Well, Jesse, as the oldest millennial
point of pride.
in the world, I can tell you that I'm the most tired.
So like, it's just a weird thing. Like, and I used to do that shit too. Just like, oh yeah, you think you're tired? This is what I have to do all the time. Like,
oh yeah, you think your mom's dead? Well.
Shannon, that's different.
I hit you on all levels.
Yeah, no, like we have this like badge of honor surrounding exhaustion. Like I was particularly like me and everybody that I knew that like in college was really bad about it. I was like, oh yeah, you think you got it bad? I'm doing homework like 20 hours a week and I'm working a part-time job, blah, blah, blah.
It took a long time for our whole generation to suddenly go like, that's not okay for you or me.
I still do
Right.
it.
Like, it's not.
I still do it, and I notice I do it because when people talk about how busy they are, they do it for me. They always look at me and say, "Man, Shannon, how do you do anything? You're so busy, man, all the time." And it's not fun anymore or funny. Now it's just a sad acceptance, and then you move on. And then now the rumor is that potentially this place that I work for, whatever that is, may have potentially sold out to another company. And they're not telling us. Potentially. Which, I'll tell them what I've told them since the beginning. You motherfuckers double cross me, or if I feel like you are going somewhere bad, it's two fingers. I'll head back to my little gaming paradise. It's literally waiting for me. I could go tomorrow and be back.
You told them from the day you walked in, you hit them with that Kermit meme and said, if you hate me, then kill me or shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. I forgot the other thing I was going to say, but I also, since we're talking about video games like 20 minutes ago, I also want to mention Wild Hearts is also really good. If you're a Monster Hunter fan, but you hate all that Monster Hunter, get Wild Hearts. Do you tire of sharpening your weapons every 2 minutes? Get Wild
Yes.
Hearts. no
I
weapon
did download the
sharpening.
trial to try it out, but I have honestly I can't say that I haven't gotten a chance. I've just been between like Call of Duty and Fire Emblem. Like those are the two games that I've been pretty consistent on. Like if I've got time at night, like and you guys aren't online, I jump on Fire Emblem. Otherwise, I jump on Call of Duty.
Do you like Monster Hunter but wish it was somehow more Japanese? Get Wild Hearts.
Oh no! But Shannon,
You're
is
really
the
not-
combat?
You're really not selling me on this.
Well,
game.
hold on. Let me just say. When I say more Japanese, it's not like goofy anime. I mean like historically
Okay.
Japanese. It's very samurai based.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I guess that's better than like animu. Is what I like to call it when something goes like just really leans into all those like hard anime tropes.
What?
Huh?
Huh?
Oh,
And
oh.
I was playing so Fire Emblem Engage. I've been really enjoying that game. It's a lot of fun. Some of the story and cinematics have gone a little animu.
I've seen the
they're
main
just
character.
Really leading into some of those tropes. There's a character that did like the fucking leaping into a bow apology thing. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
seen that goofy ass.
Like the dive straight down into the we're not worthy type thing.
Yeah, because basically, you know, the main character is effectively like your avatar unit is a deity in this world.
Oh Jesus Christ! It's the dumbest looking fucking character I've ever seen in Fire Emblem, and that's saying something.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. That fucking hair. Whenever that character first leaked, the Fire Emblem community was like, "All right, there's no way this is legit," and they started calling that character Crest Chan.
Fucking Crest Chan.
Oh man.
So yeah, like this character like attacks you, thinking like not knowing who you are or like what you are, and then like once you reveal yourself as the Divine Dragon, this character like just jumps down into like this leaping bow, like I'm so sorry.
Oh, I hate it. I'm not.
Thanks, I hate it.
It'll never be. So you're a big fan of Fire Emblem, obviously. Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of Castlevania. There's a little known Castlevania game. Well, you may have heard of it, but not a lot of people played it. Called Castlevania Judgment on the Nintendo Wii, and it's a one-on-one fighting game, kind of like Power Stone. If you've ever played that game, the art direction for that game was done by the guy that did the manga Death Note. So all the characters have that Death Note look. And one of the characters in the game, Maria, she is from Symphony of the Night, but this version of her is like little kid. Like she's like 10 or 11, 13, something like that. And her storyline character, it gets worse because her character is that she is obsessed with breasts. So every time you fight a female character, she comments on the girl's breast size. And there's one character in the game, a succubus, so you know where this is going, where she just sees her and she's just like, oh, those are huge. Those are a gift from God. And it's the most cringy fucking thing. I don't know how you make me hate Castlevania, but Jesus Christ, I can see Shelby's skin crawling off of her body and leaving.
I've also
It's gone.
seen like that. Because that's another one of those anime tropes that drive me fucking crazy. Like, either like a girl, either because she's young or just because like she didn't get the dice roll for the big titties. Like every time they see a pair of boobs, they're just like they freak out about it. And I'm just like, okay,
They're all Adam Sandler.
right.
They're just like, oh.
Oh, wow.
That's just another one of those tropes that annoy the fuck out of me.
Yeah, because there's a 50-50 chance as a young Japanese anime character, you either a size double D or E, or you're just a flat as a sheet. It's one or the other. There's
Accurate.
no in between.
That is accurate.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Last thing, I said I was going to mention this, so we're going to get to the top 5 for the night. I was reading on IGN today. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the reports now say that the big Modern Warfare expansion they were putting out this year, because they didn't want to put out another game because of the market and all that, is now going to be another game set in the Modern Warfare universe. It's no longer an expansion. It is now a full-fledged game done by Sledgehammer, in the Modern Warfare universe.
They will spin it as we were trying to make this like DLC, but it got too big.
It's too big.
It got too awesome.
Yeah.
It got too awesome. It's got to be its own
Bro.
game. Bro.
And I hate this shit. So, like, because originally, like, the reason that we weren't getting a game this year is because the rotation got fucked up. That's like because we got, I think it was Cold War came out when Sledgehammer's game was supposed to come out,
And that's
if I remember right. Yeah, Cold War is Treyarch.
Yeah.
Then Sledgehammer gave us Vanguard,
Right.
and then Infinity Ward. But that was because it went like from Black Ops 4, Modern Warfare, Black Ops Cold War, and then Vanguard, and then Modern Warfare 2.
Right.
So, like, Treyarch skipped way ahead in their rotation because they only got basically 1 year off instead of the normal 2.
And they make the best games. So.
And I thought that was because that, like, something happened in, like, the development cycle where, like, Sledgehammer had to push theirs back. So, like, they got a ridiculous amount of time, or, like, they scrapped their game or something like that happened. And Sledgehammer got a ridiculous amount of time, and when they finally came out, like, we had Vanguard.
Hey, easy.
I'm just saying. Like, that had the most development time, like, in Call of Duty for, like, basically since, Call of Duty 3? And... yeah.
Though no official details are out as of this time, the Bloomberg report stated that the game would focus on a continuation of Modern Warfare 2 and its systems, but it will not be called Modern Warfare 3. So
that's probably fine.
What
Halo
the
ODST
is it going to be?
Like, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
It's like an expansion, but it's a full game. Here, okay.
It's Saints Row 4.
I might be okay with this if it's not full price.
I was about to say, because ODST importantly released at $40.
Yeah, but this is Call of Duty.
Right. So as long as they release it at $50, because it's not a full game.
Also, if Microsoft gets all their clearance for all their bullshit, is this the kind of thing that they could go Game Pass?
Oh,
put that on the Game Pass. It's not a brand new release. I mean, okay, it is a brand new release, but it's not really a full game. But it is a full game. But it's not. We're going to kind of just.
I mean, even if it was. Like, Microsoft has been doing that since they did Game Pass. Like, any IP owned by Microsoft Studios.
I'm treating it as it's Call of Duty. I'm treating it from that standpoint.
Which
I mean,
this is the one that's been contentious because it's on a bunch of different platforms, and they just signed that deal with Nintendo.
I said they just announced 10 years of Nintendo Call of Duty 2, yeah.
Of Call of Duty on the Switch,
yeah. Can't wait for that watered down shit.
I have to imagine that this deal is to get, like, the Game Pass streaming app on the Nintendo Switch.
And it needs to be there.
Yeah.
It needs to be there.
Because there's so many other devices just like the Nintendo Switch that can run it. Because I have been watching a lot of, like, videos and information about, like, that stupid, like, that Game Boy mod that I did, like, where I get, put a backlight and all this other cool stuff to my Game Boy. That has, like, sent me down this rabbit hole of, like, handhelds and emulation and all this other stuff, like, and how many just cool ass fucking devices are on the market right now.
Talk to Billy.
And I'm sure Billy has been messing with a lot of them, but a lot of the devices, like especially like the nicer ones, will run like Game Pass streaming. And since it's got all the controls and everything built in, like it's like having a handheld Xbox, as long as the Wi-Fi is good enough and all that other stuff. And for a lot of them, it is. So yeah. Switch can absolutely do it. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to.
I talked to them earlier. They said it's because you touch yourself at night.
Or, well, importantly, Dave Meltzer had an update on that, and he said, or it's not because of that, or that has never happened at all.
Or Jesse's not even a person.
We'll have to tune in on Friday to see what happens.
I'm also, just really quick before we get to the top 5, I'm so proud of the new Shannon for spending so much time talking about breast sizes and not talking about anyone on the cast. Let's give it up for me, honestly. Like, I appreciate me. I was the only one that clapped, ladies and gentlemen.
While you doing it, let's keep it going for Christina Applegate.
Oh yeah, everyone will clap for her. Yeah, there you go. Hunter, before we get to the top 5, can you read off the nicknames real quick
God.
in case we can't do tomorrow?
I feel like they haven't changed in a while.
Well, we haven't done a show in 10 days, so
that's true.
It's fresh to
Ace
them.
Gray is the blown out hole.
All right, let's just stop
Cody
there. That's
Sandusky-
filthy. That's going to get us calls like Rihanna. That's
Cody
Super Bowl.
Sandusky remains the dick cycle. For some reason, I have new Homer screens.
Yeah.
Good old Jack McNeil is British Binks.
Yeah. Wazoo,
Jesse is Juan Valdez diarrhea. I don't know.
All right.
Kaz is 2-second minute break. I don't know what that means. You are still the sleep thing.
Yeah.
Shannon.
Yeah.
There's 2 of those Jar Jar references on there because Steven is Jar Jar Wazoo. That was the funniest damn thing.
Oh my God, he was dying.
Porn drink. And
porn
Zach
drink.
Kirkus actually probably has the oldest one because he remains thoughtful system of pumping. So
I wish you
fucking
guys.
Jar Jar thing. I don't
Oh
even
my
remember what
God.
happened, but we bring up this mention of Jar Jar Binks, and Stephen Bright in all his intoxicated glory goes Wazoo. And we all, is that a sound that he makes?
We were
That thing that he does?
we were talking about The Simpsons. We were bringing up something about it was I think you were quoting that part from The Simpsons where it was Mr. Sparkle, but no one said Mr. Sparkle. We were talking about Jar Jar at the same time, and Steven is just not.
He just goes Wazoo.
He just goes Wazoo after we'd stopped talking about that. We're like that famous Jar Jar Binks quote.
Wazoo.
Bruv.
And then that was the same night we kept saying bruv
Bruv?
for everything, so it became
Yeah.
British Jar Jar Binks, a.k.a.
Mr.
British
Binks.
Binks.
I don't
Where's
remember
the
Mr. Sparkle saying Wazoo.
He makes some kind of like, whoa, like sound effect.
Wazoo. Yeah.
And Steven took it as Wazoo.
Wazoo.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh, Lord.
All right, Lindsay, what's the top 5?
Oh, we're doing something simple this evening. Top 5 favorite movies from the 90s.
Oh, is it favorite movies?
Yes.
I thought it was favorite movie moments.
Oh, shit.
I mean, you could do moments, I guess.
I'll erase the moments and just go for the movies. How about that?
Were you that tired when you read it?
I did read it.
I believe you, but you read
That's
extra.
important.
You made it more context.
Definitely did read it.
Or according to Dave Meltzer, I did not read it. It's honestly a little bit confusing. All right, so I haven't heard from Jesse in a little while, so let's start with Shelby.
Okay.
He swerved he did the opposite thing.
I swerved to swerve, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Double H,
Bro.
Triple H.
I'm gonna start with a '90s movie that I watched so much I could probably, as a child, quote it. Balto.
Yes.
All right, I'm not laughing at the movie. I'm laughing at the fact that, all right, story time, Shelby. This one's for you. Working at Gaming Grounds, we had a dude come in once to trade in a PSP, right? So I have to test the PSP out. I turn the PSP on, and it's already on where he was. It's on what he was on, and it was a web page, and it was Balto hentai stories. It was sex stories about Balto. And I remember thinking to myself, I didn't say anything about it. I didn't want to embarrass the dude, but I was like, dude, why would you trade this in? You were literally looking at Balto porn before you handed this to me. Why would you do that?
Oh. that's
Very
so
bad.
unfortunate.
Very unfortunate for him. Yeah.
Related, do you remember the kid that brought in the PS3?
Oh, yeah, Nazi Pony Boy? That weird little motherfucker. Oh, my
Oh,
God.
this super weird little dude.
Such a strange little monster boy. Ugh. Balto. That's a show. That's a movie about a dog.
Yeah, it's a movie about a dog who ends up going with a bunch of other people. They're doing like this sled race style thing in order to bring medicine back to their town. And he's mainly doing it for another dog whose little girl owner is very sick and dire need of this medicine. Fuck yeah, I'll do this.
That's
Get
a
the lady out of this too.
that's a quote from the movie too, right? Fuck yeah, I'll do it.
The dog, yeah, fuck yeah.
That was
Well,
also.
It was
that thing that you
DreamWorks.
saw on the PSP. for
Also,
sure.
that's also what that guy said when he read the Balto porn and started unzipping his pants. Was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it right now. Let's go. Wazoo! Let's go over to Jesse.
Wazoo, bro.
Okay, I'm trying to. I tried to fill this list with a bunch of movies that haven't been brought up, like on every other, like even kind of similar list.
Good luck, bitch.
I was trying to do the same. I'm
Yeah.
picking stuff that I haven't really done before.
So I'm gonna start with The Matrix.
Oh, that's an obscure one.
I didn't say obscure, homie. I said something like that doesn't come up on the show very often, except for the gag that always follows, because everybody likes The Matrix. And then there's the bit
You
where
wish
they
they'd,
never made any sequels.
Yeah, you wish they made another one. Yeah.
Wish they would make another one. I actually never did watch the most recent movie. I heard it wasn't as bad as the other two.
Jesse,
But
you want to know
Oh
the truth?
fuck! I forgot they
I've
made
never
another
watched any of them.
All
the
right, that's
first one, well,
unfortunate.
okay. The first one's super dated CG and everything at this point, but it was like back in the 90s. Like we watched that shit on repeat. That movie was so much fun to watch. Like it was so good. There's so
Oh,
much
it was
action
on my
sequences.
TV because my mom liked it, but because of the hype that got built up, I just got real. I want nothing to do with this.
You sound like Shannon.
I have
I was about to say, 'cause she is.
also
There's some
never
counterculture.
seen The Matrix.
Oh wow, that surprises me.
That actually
Yeah.
is very surprising to me.
It's one of my weird little. There's a handful of things that they get brought up, and I go, I never did get around, because for years I never saw The Godfather. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. Sarah and I were on New Year's. We were at home, and some channel, when we still had cable, was showing like The Godfather, all three of them. And I watched the first two, and Matt Sissom goes, "Do not watch the third one. You have a very unique opportunity to not see the third one." And so I didn't. And to this day, I've seen both of them one time. But yeah, the Matrix was one that also escaped me, and I distinctly remember borrowing it from somebody with the intention of watching it, and they kept fucking pushing it on me to the point that I was like, "Nah, fuck this. I don't want to watch this fucking movie. Take it back." And I didn't. I never watched it. I've never gotten around to it.
I went to go see when did the Matrix came out in '99, I think, something like that.
First one,
Yeah,
that
First one I
sounds
thought was
right.
like 97 or something like that.
I think it was. It wasn't the first one. I want to say it
99.
was.
That was 99. Okay.
It was. I think it was it was either the second or the third one. But I was dating this girl in college named Vina, and we were going to go to the movies together. And I wanted to see Matrix, but she had never seen the rest of them. So we were like, all right, well, we'll just go see the next movie that someone else goes to, and we'll just go to the same movie. And it turned out to be Holes with Shia LaBeouf.
I loved that book as a kid.
didn't
That
get to see
movie
The
was
Matrix.
terrible.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't good. Let's go to let's go to Double H. Get him in now before
Okay.
Tanner fucking crawls in 5 minutes from a backwood fucking fishing
Oh.
hole and bumfuck nowhere.
I did the exact opposite of Jesse. I'm like, there's no way I'm avoiding any of some very important stuff. So when anytime 90s movies get brought up, the first thing that comes to mind for me is Jurassic Park.
I
And
knew
have
it.
to mention Jurassic Park out of the gate. Yes, that's my, because I mean, my top like 5 tier rotates on a fairly regular basis, but most of my favorite movies are from the 80s. You're talking
Yeah.
about Back to the Future. You're talking
Ghostbusters.
about most of the Star Wars movies, Ghostbusters, obviously, yeah. But Jurassic Park is very distinctly 90s,
Oh.
and it's a movie that still holds up today, especially in terms of special effects. The story is still great. I constantly talk about how it's one of the rare examples of the book is good, the movie is good. They're not the same thing, and they're both great. It is
Sam
just,
Neill.
Sam Neill. That's really
Sam
all
Neill.
you need to say.
Hmm.
Sam fucking Neill. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, Jurassic Park is and will always be one of my all-time favorite movies, and it is kind of the definitive 90s movie for me.
I do want to mention, speaking of Ghostbusters today, you guys know this. You guys know Mimi, right? Well,
Yes.
today she said something to these other people, and it was like, when someone asks you this, you say this. And I asked her, I said, well, what happens if someone asks you if you're a god? And she goes, what? I said, if someone asks you if you're a god,
my
you say
God.
yes. And she stares,
Yes.
and everyone stares at me, and they go, what do you mean?
my God.
And I just,
Oh, God.
I quit my job.
I-
I quit my job.
While I was laid up on the couch today, I let we've been watching a lot of The Office because we kind of just fall asleep to The Office and let it run. But today, while it was just me at the house, I was like, man, I gotta watch something else. So I started It's Always Sunny just running in the background, and I got to the episode where they're buying up all the gas. And I totally forgot about all the Ghostbusters references
The
in that it
Ghostbusters.
ends with the Ghostbusters theme.
Yeah.
The Ghostbusters would never do this to each other.
The A-Team did it.
No, Frank's the muscle.
The
I'm
Ghostbusters
brains,
did
you're the
it.
looks.
What about D? She's the useless chick.
You're the wild card. He's useless. Exactly. You just keep being useless, D.
So I think I only have one big block. Well, arguably two big blockbusters on here. I'm gonna start off with the best James Bond film. Don't at me, Asa. GoldenEye.
Yep, had that on mine too. I have a very extensive list, so I can afford to lose stuff.
GoldenEye, it was the, like, I always liked James Bond, don't get me wrong. He was always just cool. It was James Bond. I even liked James Bond Jr., but it wasn't until GoldenEye. Well, don't give me that look. You not like James Bond Jr.?
What is James Bond Jr.?
You don't remember James
cartoon.
Bond Jr.? Yeah, it was a
Animated
cartoon.
series.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I never
And
saw
a very
that.
bad video game.
Yes.
Admittedly, it wasn't really a great cartoon series. Either,
It was
but if
bad.
you grew up with it, like,
Yeah, nostalgia glasses.
yeah, that's
right.
totally different. Yeah.
But the movie GoldenEye, that to me was like, that was the first James Bond movie I ever fell in love with. Pierce Brosnan will always be my James Bond, and not just Pierce Brosnan. It's easy to just point at him and say that's the best part. Robbie Coltrane was in it; he was fantastic.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean that was the first thing I ever saw Sean Bean in, and his role of Alec Trevelyan was so good. 006. Like,
How often do we quote the "For England, Alex"?
yeah, that's the exact quote.
Or "For England, James"? Sorry.
When I thought this was the Moments thing, that was what I had. It was the "For England, James." No, Alec, for me. And then he drops that motherfucker onto a satellite, and then drops the satellite on him.
And I'll never remember it word for word, but that quote that he says to him in the statue park, of the martini silence the screams of all the women you've let die over the years and all that. It's such a great monologue.
I posted that actually on my Facebook the other day. Let me find that real quick, because it is also one of my absolute favorite quotes, and it's one of those things that Bond was always so untouchable when it came to how he treated women. When everybody just like, oh, that's James Bond, he's so cool. This was the first time that someone ever like called him out on it. This is the first time that someone ever like called out the fact that he is what he is. And the quote is, "I might as well ask you if all those vodka martinis ever silenced the screams of all the men you've killed, or if you find forgiveness in the arms of all those willing women for all the dead ones you failed to protect." God damn, call the brother out, bro.
He even guts him before that, because Bond is like throwing it back at him, saying he's doing all this so mad little Alec can settle a score with the world 50 years on. And Trevelyan goes, "Oh, please, James, spare me the Freud." Like, it's such a good bit, man.
Famke Johnson's in that movie. Alan Cumming is in that movie. Don Baker, I think is his name, was in them. But there's just a lot of good people in that fucking movie. That, to me, that will always be the best James Bond. That's my first pick. GoldenEye. Also gave us one of the best fucking shooters of all time too.
Yes,
a lot of people's every console player's introduction to shooters back in the 90s.
Wasn't mine though. You know what the first shooter I ever played was? Since we're on the topic, LucasArts Outlaws. If anybody remembers that game, old school Western. Love that game. Anyway,
GoldenEye was definitely my first shooter, and why I play inverted.
Well, I'll never forgive him for that. Let's go to Lindsay. Turns you into a freak.
No. So the first one I'm doing, I only discovered probably within the last decade, but I really like it. It's The Red Violin.
With Sam Jackson?
Basically. Yes, he is in it.
Yeah.
It's basically starts off with people at an auction all wanting the same red-colored violin, and it goes back through its history of when it was created and who it passed hands through, all the while kind of slipping back and forth between present and the violin's past, and leading up to the actual auction as to who ends up with it.
It's a good movie. It's a good drama. I remember that was one of the first movies I ever saw with Sam Jackson, where he wasn't playing the stereotypical Sam Jackson, and so it was really unique. Yeah, that's a good movie. I always had an interest in that, and I love the violin. The violin is my absolute favorite instrument, so it fits.
I'm just a sucker for period pieces and music pieces. So.
Or, as Vina called it, the fiddle. That's the second Vina reference tonight. Her ears are burning.
I was about to say somewhere. Her ears are burning.
Lindsay did not like Vina. Anyway, let's... Said she was mousy.
Why?
Said she was mousy. She was mousy, to be fair. She was a interesting person. Let's go back to Shelby and get the attention off me. and the things I say.
Why? We can keep talking about
No, go ahead, Shelby. I'm interested in your films. They're always the best.
All right. Silence of the Lambs.
The only horror film to ever win a Best Picture Oscar. And the only reason it won it is because they didn't call it a horror film.
Yep.
I always think that it's an 80s movie. I don't know why. In my head, that thing came out in 89. And indeed, it was 91.
All-time classics. Shelby, tell me about The Silence of the Lambs.
Really fucking. I also really like Anthony Hopkins is like one of my favorite actors. So just having him in that role, he did so good on it.
I think you're really overlooking. What is his name? He played Buffalo Bill. Ted Levine? Is that his name?
Ted Levine.
Yeah. He was so he's really like the unsung hero of that film. Well, not hero, he's a monster. But he was like everybody was giving Anthony Hopkins all the attention. They ignored Ted Levine. He's such a good actor and he's so good in that movie. He's got that famous quote. I'm not gonna do the voice. You get what I'm saying. You know the quote I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Jesse, do the quote.
No, I'm not going to do the quote.
Jesse, we'll do the quote a little bit.
No. Lotion basket hose. You need more?
It does what it is
got
told.
Shelby, give me one of those Anthony
I'm sure
Hopkins
that
little.
I can do that. I'm sure he's talking instead about the would you fuck me? I assumed that's what he wanted Jesse to say.
I'd fuck me.
And my favorite part was going to be when Jesse's like, I'm not going to, and then he just drops it and pulls up the tube of lipstick.
Oh.
Oh.
It's so good.
Hey, let's go to Jesse. Currently.
Oh, currently. Okay. All right. My next one's going to be one of my favorite comedy films of all time. It's from the 90s.
Hot Shots.
Tommy Boy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Tommy Boy is it's my favorite Chris Farley movie. Like I said, it's one of my favorite movies in general. Like I'll just throw that on in the background, and it's great. It's just a wonderful film.
Of all of Chris Farley's best movies, it's the only one.
Man,
that's not true. I loved Almost Heroes. Almost Heroes is a fantastic movie. Me and Kevin.
What about Beverly Hills Ninja?
No, that's a terrible film.
Black Sheep was okay.
I liked it better when it was called Tommy Boy.
Exactly. Because that's straight up like, hey, you liked the plot of Tommy Boy?
Let's do it again.
Do it again.
Run it back. But yeah, no. I as a kid, I loved Beverly Hills Ninja though. I don't know why that movie cracked me up.
I didn't. I couldn't. I don't know why. It never. And I was stupid when I was younger too. Stupider than now. And I still it just did nothing for me. But Almost Heroes though, that's the shit right there.
Almost Heroes is good. But Tommy Boy is the best Chris Farley movie, and it is just fantastic.
Speaking of Beverly Hills Ninja, though, I do want to mention, because I don't think, I'm not going to go out on a limit here and say, does anyone have Mortal Kombat on their list?
No.
I didn't think so. However, Mortal Kombat, legitimately a good movie, yeah. And it's got Robin Shou in it, who was also in
I
Beverly
loved
Hills
the
Ninja.
hell out of it in the 90s, because importantly, this is not the best movies in the 90s. It's your
favorite movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I actually did, in fairness, I absolutely loved both Mortal Kombat movies in the 90s.
No.
I rewatched both of them in like the 2010s, and I was like, the fuck was wrong with me?
Now, one still, I argue one still holds up. One is still good. Like, is it bad? Of course it is, but it's good bad. Annihilation was just bad.
Yeah, no, Mortal Kombat, like, I still, like, I enjoyed watching it enough, I enjoyed rewatching it enough, that I gave Annihilation a shot.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. Shannon, what? He just pulled the arms off.
He pulls the arms off to fight better. The metal arms that he got. Also, my favorite quote from that movie, and I know it's been done to death, but it's just that whole, "Mother, you're alive. It's too bad you will die." Oh, God. I'm making my penis soft.
So bad.
Why was it hot? Never mind. I don't want to know. I'm good.
Oh, look at
It's
that.
a cat in a
He's
box.
got a kitty in a box. Yeah.
Cat in the plastic
Cat in
bin.
They're obsessed with it.
Let's go to Hunter.
Oh, I'm going to do the only animated movie that I would ever put on any of these lists, whether it was 90s or not, and that is Aladdin. Aladdin was legitimately one of my all-time favorite movies. It's definitely my favorite Disney movie. It's really no contest. I spent I wore that fucking videotape out. Like I got the old school clamshell one, which I know my parents still have somewhere. And that bad boy got wound and rewound and wound again to the point that, like, I think when I first started doing like voices and thinking like that kind of stuff was fun, I was imitating those characters. I distinctly remember doing Iago a lot, which I'm sure my dad just loved.
The Nate.
Gilbert Gottfried coming
Jafar!
out as a 10-year-old, you know. What is this? What kind of kid plays with this? You know, it's just dumb. Anyway. I fucking loved that movie.
It was a great
I can't say
movie.
enough good things about it. It's so
Aladdin was always one of my favorite Disney movies. Like, it was probably of the Disney films my favorite growing up.
Yeah.
Well, like, none of the
100%.
songs miss. Like, all of those are great. You know, later when I learned that they had cut songs, I got really excited, and then I heard the cut songs, and I went, "Nope, that makes sense," because those would not have. They were fine, but they just would have not made sense in the flow of the movie. But yep.
There's a lot said about the live action one. I still love the live action one. It's my favorite, but I won't criticize anyone obviously that likes the cartoon better. I mean, it's, you know, but one thing I think the live action did that I wish the cartoon did more was they presented Jasmine as a more full, intelligent character as opposed to just the princess.
The cartoon did a little bit better for that or the TV show, I should say.
I forgot there was
and I was
a
gonna
show.
say, even the movie did a pretty good job of, like, she comes up with a little plan toward the end on her own and is like actively fighting against. You know, I certainly wish that she had fought a little harder in the beginning, or that her dad wasn't such a dick.
He was such an idiot.
But
What a dumb.
I love that at the end. So much of this could be fixed at the end when he's just like, "Oh, I could just change the law. All right, well, changed, done." Come on, man.
They had to go through the journey first to earn it.
They had the hero's journey.
They had to earn it.
Yeah. I didn't hate the live action one. I'll never like it as much as I love the original. But again, I legitimately came out in '92. I was 7, so yeah, I literally grew up with the original.
One that I grew up with. We talked about Mortal Kombat earlier, and that was a Paul W.S. Anderson film. Another Paul W.S. Anderson film, which is actually one of my favorite movies of the 90s. Do you know which one it is, Lindsay? Can you guess it?
No,
You can't, can you? Hunter knows it.
I can't.
Paul W.S. Anderson from the '90s.
Yeah.
Because I don't pay attention.
Resident Evil
to
didn't come out in the '90s, did it?
names.
It's one of his only non-video game adaptations. This is an original story.
Oh, Phantom of the Opera. He did Phantom of the Opera, didn't he?
No, that was Joel
Was it
Schumacher.
him?
That was Schumacher.
Schumacher, shit.
Was
I
Phantom of
think
the
it was
Opera in
one
the
or two.
90s?
I think so.
No, it was the early 2000s. I'm
No,
almost
it was
positive.
2000s.
Okay, good. Because
Oh,
it's
okay.
not
I
about.
was in college.
It's the Event Horizon.
Oh shit! I always forget that he did that.
2004 for Phantom of the Opera.
You're right. I did know that, but I always forget about that because Paul W.S. Anderson is so inextricably tied to Resident Evil in my head that I just regularly forget that he did Event Horizon. Yeah,
Event
he sure
Horizon.
did.
That is a really good, kind of underappreciated cult favorite now. It did do well when it came out. Also had
Yeah.
Sam Neill, for the record.
Yep.
Also, and Lawrence Fishburne.
Well, everyone made so much about Alien, and not that it's not true, but they made so much about Alien being a haunted horror, haunted house horror movie in space. It's like, but this is the
too. Legitimate.
On
Yeah.
a, like
Yeah.
on an existential level. Like,
Jesse, have you ever
horrifying.
seen Event Horizon? You have not?
No.
Shelby, have you seen Event Horizon?
Good.
About, I think I
It'll fuck you up.
Yeah, if we haven't, we need to watch it one of these days because the basic
Yes.
storyline, I won't spoil too much, but the basic
Yeah.
premise is there is a ship that disappeared called the Event Horizon, a spaceship, and it just disappeared. And now it's reappeared. And it was developing some kind of warp core that would basically bend space. So the way they describe it is he takes a sheet of paper and folds it in half and sticks a pencil through it. It basically bends space so you can travel faster than the speed of light. And it disappeared. So it comes back, and this team goes to investigate it, and it actually literally went to hell. and now it's back and it's fucking twisted. It's so good.
Jesse, if nothing else, as a Mass Effect fan, you'll like it. You'll like it for that. It's kind of like a 90s Mass Effect horror movie.
Because I've been aware of the movie's existence. I've never seen it. I'd definitely be down for a movie night.
Yeah,
I'm a baby. It made me cringe, but it was still really, really good.
It's a classic. It's an all-time classic. Yeah, it's one of my absolute favorites. And Sam Neill gets to play. Well, I don't want to spoil it because we'll watch it sometime. So let's just let's go to Lindsay.
All right, we're gonna go to a terrible one that I absolutely was obsessed with when it came out. Batman Forever.
Forever's not the worst one, at least.
Forever's okay.
I know,
yeah,
but it's still
Batman
not good.
And who's it directed by?
Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher, right?
Schumacher
okay?
he did the later two.
Yep.
He did that one and Batman and Robin.
Yeah, because Phantom of the Opera, he said, was like his apology for Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
I mean, look, worth noting that Batman Forever did at least give us that wonderful moment between Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones, where Tommy Lee Jones said that he could not sanction his buffoonery. Like, that's what led to that whole thing. So it's worth bringing up.
And you know,
I didn't hate Forever. Forever was fun. I mean, it was stupid in comparison to the previous two. But I mean, people kind of stop. There's not enough acknowledgement given to the fact that Batman Returns is also kind of stupid. Like the Penguin stuff and the Catwoman stuff is all kind of
because if you
the Catwoman stuff is like super cringy.
Well, so is the Penguin thing. You go from being a mobster to a deformed guy living in the sewers befriended by penguins. Like, it was very strange. It was just, it had that dark Tim Burton look that made it special.
It very much had, like, everything on there was, like, full Tim Burton.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Like,
and that Christopher
very much
Walken.
see his style in there. But yeah, the other two films, actually, like, I enjoyed those quite a bit. Like, I was the target audience for those films, and I enjoyed them a lot when they came out. I remember leaving the theater for both of them, and my dad was pissed.
Because they were just silly as hell.
Yeah, and he's been a big Batman fan since since the 60s. Like, he's been really, really into Batman.
Oh, then he ain't got shit to say.
Because he actually did like the Adam West show. But, I feel like he understood those were kind of goofy and fun and campy. But, this was the 90s. He was still actively reading Batman. And 90s Batman was edgy as shit.
Yeah.
He was pretty disappointed with those films. And I enjoyed the shit out of them. Going back and watching them years later, they were terrible. And then rewatching them under the, I really love the fan theory that these are films
Batman movies.
Yeah, they're Batman movies in that universe.
Yep.
Which makes more sense.
Yeah, that's where you have the whole fucking product placement of the bat card.
Holy rusted metal Batman.
What? The floor. It's all rusted.
It's
full of holes.
holy.
But Batman Forever specifically, though, it had Nicole Kidman as one of my favorite names of a character, Dr. Chase Meridian.
Chase Meridian.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good name.
Good name.
Drew Barrymore and Debbie Mazar, I don't know how to pronounce the last name.
Spice.
That's Sugar and Spice. It's so much better than Batman and Robin, where Vivica A. Fox, who's not actually A. Fox, by the way, was like, I forget what her name was, but she was everybody in fucking Mr. Freeze's gang. They lived in an icebox. They all dressed up as like hockey goons, and they're sitting around watching Frosty the Snowman and shit. It's so
They were
fucking
watching
dumb.
A Year Without a Santa Claus because it was Snow Miser.
Oh, it's so dumb. It's so bad.
As a kid, though, that shit cracked me up, and I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger in that role.
Of course, he's fucking iconic. You're not going to send me to the cooler.
We're doing ice.
Time to chill. That's so great. Like I said, there was watching them when I was a kid. I fucking loved both of those movies. I'm right there with Lindsay. I enjoyed the shit out of them.
I love that Tommy Lee
Still
Jones.
obsessed. I remember watching 3 hours of QVC that they were just putting out
QVC.
movie product stuff and
QVC.
showing clips from the movie.
The part of Batman and Robin I can never forgive, though, is the one shot where Robin has to come back out of the water he's fallen into, and the cheap motherfuckers just reversed the shot. They just played it in reverse. Like, you can see the water like splashing back in. Come on, man.
Fine.
You couldn't have him just stand up.
They got the shot they wanted.
I really hated Chris
So
O'Donnell as Robin. Like
I
in
like
both
Chris
films.
O'Donnell.
I like Chris O'Donnell. I just didn't like him as Robin. Like he was.
Robin.
I hated that. At the time, I didn't hate it because I just, I didn't know any better. As I got older, I'm like, yeah, that was a terrible casting choice. But then they introduced Damian Wayne, and I went, oh, shit, they figured him out before he ever came about as a character.
And
He's just Damian. He should have been Damian.
And do you remember who they originally cast as Robin in Batman Returns?
Marlon Wayans.
Marlon Wayans.
Marlon Wayans.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been very fun to see.
They also had
Yes.
to pay out Billy D. Williams because he was contractually signed to play Two-Face. And they were like,
Harvey
well, we'd rather have
'Cause
Tommy Lee Jones.
He was Harvey Dent.
He was Harvey.
I guess it was
Batman.
Returns, right? He wasn't in the first one.
He was in the
he
first one. It was the first one, yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah, he
remember.
was in the first movie just as Harvey Dent.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and then they were like, all right, well, here's Two-Face.
And then they were like, well, we'd rather have Tommy Lee Jones, so here's some money. Go buy some Colt 45. We'll talk to you later. Let's go over to Jesse. We can't talk about... Look, kids, we can't talk about the Batman forever. Oh, fuck! Oh, fuck!
You skipped Shelby, didn't you?
Yeah.
I
Because
did,
it-
but is no one gonna applaud my "We can't talk about
We can't
Batman
just talk
forever"
about
joke?
Batman forever.
Come on, Shelby.
It was good. It
More
was
focused
good.
on the
Jesse,
use
and
of
we were all-
Shelby.
We were all worried.
We were all stuck on that.
All right, Shelby.
I'm gonna have to go with Fight Club.
Well, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's the first rule.
That's the first rule, dude.
On to Jesse.
It's also the second rule. Yeah,
so
I can't pretend like I didn't have a Fight Club phase. I feel like most people
Everybody
who act
did.
like they didn't have a Fight Club. Some people will just tell you straight up, I didn't, and that's whatever. But if you can tell
That's
that they're
another
faking
one
it,
I've
then
never
it's fucking
watched.
100%, and that's different. If you've never seen it, that's one thing. But I was right at the perfect ripe age going into college when this thing,
yeah,
really got super popular. Not when it came out, but
the two things I remember most about the film is Jared Leto was in it, and he was the pretty boy who wasn't pretty by the end of it, and fucking Meatloaf as Bob. His name was Bob.
His
name was
he had a
Robert
hormone
Paulson.
disorder.
Robert Paulson.
yeah.
The other day, I was at the office, and I met with a patient, and he saw me, and he immediately went, I was just listening to Meatloaf earlier. You look just like Meatloaf. And I went, what? Like, which Meatloaf? Younger, slightly less
I was about to
ugly
say,
Meatloaf?
there's a version of Meatloaf
Or-
that's a great compliment.
Right. Or like current Meatloaf.
Didn't he die?
He's been dead.
Oh yeah, he's dead.
was about
That's
to say,
Shannon's
so-
joke there.
Fight Club came out in '99. I started college in 2003, so it was a few years later. But that was when it was really hitting the it's in the DVD bins, like it's super popular on the college campuses. Because I remember we watched that. One I'm not gonna say because it's coming up on my list in a little bit. Super Troopers and like 3 or 4, Office Space. We watched all of these things just on repeat over and over. To the point, and this is the most fucking Fight Club 2000s, early 2000s, late 90s thing I can tell you. I distinctly remember, and I had to look up the quote, my AIM handle, because you remember you could change your AOL Instant Messenger handle like anytime. My fucking AIM handle was Jack's Smirking Revenge for a distinct period of time. And I thought that I was the coolest motherfucker on the planet.
Until I changed
Just
my
because
Xbox
you
handle
were,
to
Hunter.
Moroccan Bad Kermit.
That was it. That was when I finally gave up the title.
Yeah, you had to. Damn it, I had a great segue, a Fight Club segue to Jesse, and I don't remember what it was. Let's just go to Jesse.
I put a great picture of you in the chat only.
I
for
swear
me.
to God, if it's that guy with the pants halfway up to his nipples,
With the
It's
moose
not.
knuckle, it's not.
It's not. The moose knuckle.
it doesn't look anything fucking like me.
It really does not.
Oh my God.
No,
He's a white guy with long hair.
that's it.
All of us look alike. And I liked Meatloaf. Don't get me wrong. Meatloaf is cool as hell. All right.
Well, Jesse, according to some people, when I looked at that, I actually just saw you as well, because you and Shannon are just clearly twins. I thought you were just posting one of your headshots.
Back when he had long hair, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I feel like I've got to mention Happy Gilmore. I'm gonna do that.
I figured you would.
Yep.
Kiss my white ass, ball.
So like I talked about like Tommy Boy. That's one of my all-time favorite movies. Happy Gilmore's right there with it. Like I will regularly, because right now it's back. Like whatever streaming service has it will be my most used streaming service for however long it has it. Because like
keep watching it.
Yeah, I'll just throw it on. I mean, I guess right now I'm watching through The Simpsons, so Disney Plus is there, but Hulu's right behind it because right now they've got Happy Gilmore.
Is that your favorite Sandler film?
Yeah, that's my favorite Sandler film.
More so than Madison?
I assumed that or Billy Madison was coming up.
Yeah. Like I like Billy Madison, but it's actually like probably my fourth favorite Sandler movie from the 90s.
Wow.
Can I guess it? Is it Happy Gilmore?
Yep.
Waterboy.
Yes. Well, back and forth with number 3. That's the
Wedding Singer.
Hey, Flock of Seagulls.
Oh, somebody kill me, please.
Somebody kill me, please.
Yeah, I would always have to put Billy Madison on top. But again, Happy Gilmore was one of those movies that I've seen Billy Madison a million times. I've seen Happy Gilmore like once.
Oh,
weirdly.
I love Happy Gilmore.
I don't know why.
I
liked it just fine. It just never came across my radar regularly.
For me, it was Christopher McDonald, though. As Shooter McGavin.
Shooter
He
McGavin.
pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
This guy eats pieces of shit for breakfast.
No.
No. Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit?
Oh, Carl Weathers is in that fucking movie, too.
Yes, he is. It's all in the hits. It's all in the hits.
He may have got your hand, but I got that bastard's eye. He's like, he got my hand, but I got that bastard's eye.
Yeah. Then like you've got just like what is the name of his boss? Like his construction worker boss?
Richard, it starts with a K. He was also in Bond. He was Jaws. What was his name? Richard K. Something. But yeah, your ball landed on my foot. That's 2 thus far, Shooter.
Oh, look, you can count.
And you can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot. Run,
hey, Shooter, I think you forgot your 9-iron.
In his gun won't kill people, I kill people t-shirt.
I love that movie. Yeah, like I'll put it on like this is the same thing like I said with Tommy Boy, like it's just running in the background.
Oh.
I will also play it when I'm going to sleep.
Let's not
movie.
forget Ben Stiller in that movie. He will go to sleep or I will put you to sleep.
Is anybody else's fingers hurt?
I enjoy Ben Stiller when he's being a psychopath in films.
That's a good
a dynamite trophy.
Hey, you guys know that Meester lady? I think I just killed her. All right.
And yet, like, don't get me wrong, I really like Billy Madison. It's just like I really do. I love Waterboy. Wedding Singer is probably number 2. And then I just really, really like Waterboy too.
I think I'm with you. I think I like Happy Gilmore more than Billy Madison, but I love both of them. They're my 2 favorite Sandler films. I haven't watched a Sandler movie in a long time. There's a reason for that. And he's made some good ones too, like actually good movies. But anyway.
Yeah. Like his last 2 films have been like legitimately great.
Punch Drunk Love was really good. A lot of people forget about that because it was still during that Sandler period where he was making the dumb comedies. And
honestly, if you like Punch Drunk Love, you really need to see what is it? Cutting Diamonds? No, it's not Cutting Diamonds.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the one where he's a jeweler, and I can't think of the name of it, but that was a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what is it called?
It's something Diamonds.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, but I can't think of it.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems. That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Uncut Gems is phenomenal, and Hustle is also really, really good.
I've heard very good things about Hustle. I haven't seen it, but yeah.
Speaking of hustling, Hunter, let's hustle.
That's something I do. Scream, the original Scream, legitimately one of my all-time favorite horror movies. It's something I pretty well watch, like Halloween regular watching is Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Beetlejuice, Scream. The Shining, somewhere in there. It's not as many horror movies as most people probably put in their list, but the first Scream was the first horror movie I really got into. I realized, of course, years later I wasn't getting all the references, so it was kind of fun to have like the meta one and then go back and see where they were pulling all the different things from. An incredible fucking cast, just so good. No matter how good some of the later sequels have been, because some of them have gotten significantly better, they're never as good as that first one. That first one just really takes the cake.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the quintessential '90s horror movie to me.
I would agree with that.
that's-
I love Scream when it came out. It was one of my absolute favorites.
And like everybody was dressing as Ghostface for
Zach still does. Zach
ever.
still does. Zach's listening right now.
I was gonna say that
Dressed
thing
as
just
Ghostface.
created a whole thing. Yeah,
He's dressed as Ghostface right now, listening to this,
just nodding.
hugging his knife and smoking marijuana.
And for like heavyset children, that was a pretty spectacular Halloween costume.
Oh yeah, I always wanted to go as Fat Ghostface.
I think
That was
he's
better
just
for being a-
Ghostface, Shannon.
Oh, sorry. What was your question?
It was about food. I don't want to ask it anymore.
Oh shit, it's me. Friday.
Yeah,
That's
damn,
a
another one.
spectacular
Yeah,
film.
Friday.
God, it is.
I
I
helped a
I-
customer named Felicia today, and I had to try really
Did you
hard
tell her
not to
bye?
giggle.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye,
I
Felicia.
wanted to, and I didn't.
What,
That was one that like I nearly put on my list. Was like, no, I guarantee Shannon is gonna pick this film.
how you gonna get fired on your day off? What was you? What are you sealing boxes for? You building a fort? That movie. Oh my god, I probably watched that movie a million times. My mom hated that I loved that movie so much, but then she found it funny eventually. It's probably my favorite comedy of the '90s, and I got so much from it. And I was so big into like hip hop and like just the scene. And Friday was like, I don't know, it was just such a good movie, and it has all-star cast with Ice Cube, fucking Chris Tucker, Debo. Everyone knows Debo. Yeah, it was.
You come around here messing with these people.
You want some too, old man? No.
No. Shannon, that's the beauty of it. I grab a dog, I choke him, I kick the shit out of him all day long. Put up a dog's ass, just bang, bang, bang. That's my pleasure.
Well, you ain't got to worry about
God.
catching a dog. You have to worry about a dog catching you by the
I'm
ass.
catching your ass. I'm gonna smell your shit for 22 years. You can smell mine for 5 minutes. Get in here.
Like a bunch
Just every line, man.
of spiders having a meeting on his head. God damn. That's another one that I wish they had made. I wish they made a second one.
Oh shit!
You know?
Right? Yeah. Every one of them after that.
So yeah,
Hey, Smokey back here taking a shit.
Ezel.
Hazel. Well, I ain't gonna tell nobody else.
It's a good soundtrack too. All right, so yeah,
Oh, my God.
we lost all of our white listeners. Let's go to
Yes, we did.
Let's go to Lindsay.
True.
Bring them back, Lindsay.
So you can bring back the white
Yeah,
listeners?
bring them back.
Well, we're going to go back to Ben Stiller being a psychopath with heavyweights.
There they are. There's the white people.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Fred.
Just play the Welcome Back Cotter theme song right here.
Josh Shinfield
Welcome
just came back. We
welcome
appreciate
back, Welcome back.
it. Oh,
Oh, jeez.
I barely remember Welcome Back, Cotter. No, that's not the movie. What'd you say? Heavyweights.
Heavyweights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I threw you off with Cotter.
I enjoyed that movie a lot as a kid. It had Kenan Thompson,
It
very young Kenan Thompson.
I did
Uh-huh.
not see this movie when I was a kid, and it was probably just a couple. I think it was during COVID, during lockdown. Sarah was looking for something to watch, and she was like, "Oh shit, heavyweights!" And I'm like, "The what now? What's happening?" And she was
I
one
just
of those.
love
like,
all
"You
the
what?
stupid jokes in
You've
it.
never seen, so we watched it. It was fun. Yeah, I didn't dislike it at all. She has a much greater attachment to it because she saw it as a kid. But yeah, I don't dislike it.
Yeah, that was a great movie. I enjoyed the shit out of it as a kid.
I like
Yeah.
Ben Stiller. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it.
I liked Ben Stiller, and then I came back around to liking him again when he stopped being in everything. But there was a period of time, man, where he was in too many things, and not very many of them were good.
I was not a
Heartbreak
fan.
Kid was awful.
What was that movie he did? The real famous one. There's something about Mary. I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't think it was that funny.
Yeah, it was okay.
It didn't leave anything to the imagination at all.
No, it
I
was
also
very
was-
clearly.
Not a huge fan of Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
Nah.
Never
I didn't
watched
care
it.
for
Never
that
a
one
big one.
either.
Never
Oh,
watched
and
it.
certainly
It has, like,
not a fan of
3
Meet the Fockers.
No,
I
it
enjoyed
had like 3 good
Zoolander.
moments, and people quoted the shit out of them over and over to the point that it was like, okay, but if you're gonna have a movie that's quotable, I need it Friday style. I need everything to be quotable,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
just
I need,
the
like,
you know.
two
I need
lines.
more
I got
than
nipples,
can you
fucker,
milk
can
me,
you milk
Greg?
me?
Yeah,
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Let's go to Shelby. Shelby, we're at an hour and 20 minutes, so let's go into
Look,
speed
we haven't
mode.
had a show in 10 days. It's allowed to be a little longer.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be 10 days long.
You want me to just name my last 2 then?
No. We're gonna go one by one. Go ahead.
Alright. Edward Scissorhands.
Yay!
Not to
I
be
like-
confused with the porn parody Edward Penis Hands, which is a real thing.
No.
Which you bring up every time we bring up
Every
Edward
time.
I just want everyone to know.
Not to be confused. Got it.
Was that a Tim Burton film?
Yes.
Okay. That was back when Burton was hitting on all cylinders. He was doing good stuff before he fell the fuck off. Also had
Oh,
Vincent
yeah.
Price. And Winona Ryder, right? Wasn't she in it?
Yep.
Oh, crush that crush button. I had such a big crush on Winona Ryder. I still do.
And Anthony Michael Hall was in it.
He's all right. Vincent Price.
It was Vincent Price's last role.
Fitting.
It's been
Yeah.
a long time since I've seen Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands was kind of
I watch
where,
it at least once a year.
I don't know, man. I go back and I watch some of the Tim Burton films now, and I don't know, maybe in my time's past, they're a little too something. I can't put my finger on it.
There's definitely a certain mood
Yeah.
that,
Like,
yeah.
I still watch Beetlejuice annually. Like,
It doesn't have that same feeling.
it has a lot of Tim Burton to it. Like, maybe not
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands, but
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I totally see where Shelby's coming from. If Beetlejuice does not have that same, I don't know, aura that the other Burton films has. Like, it's certainly more comical and not as, like, Johnny Depp's not in it for one, which is a plus.
it's got Alec Baldwin instead.
It's got
I
Michael
mean,
Keaton,
and Michael Keaton.
wonderful actor. You can see him as the
Just
Batman.
a quick
in the
update,
Flash.
in case you're wondering. Have not passed it yet. Anyway, moving on.
Ouch. All right, moving on. You heard him, Jesse.
Not yet.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do Men in Black.
Here they come.
Damn. That was another
Here
one I
comes
had
the
on
Men
my
in
list.
Here
Black.
come the Men in Black.
Hell yeah.
Galaxy
I
Defenders.
fucking loved this movie as a kid. Like everything from the noisy cricket to like
I also
the cars, like the old and busted. Like, oh, that was Men in
How many
Black.
times you flash a thing, me, Kay? I have not heard it pointed out enough that, to me, Men in Black is the 90s version of 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and
Nick Nolte.
Like, it's the same basic
It's a
premise.
buddy cop film, yeah. Old cop,
Yeah,
young
young,
cop.
young black cop
Yeah.
and then older white cop, just, on an intergalactic level. One's kind of old and grumpy. One is trying to change up the status quo. I don't think it gets pointed out enough, but it's not, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because
Right.
48 Hours is a fucking great movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
Men in Black was the one that I grew up with too. So yeah, absolutely, that's a
Yeah,
good
love-
choice.
Love that fucking
Here's-
movie.
right.
Love the cartoon. The cartoon, like the intro to the cartoon, is still one of like my all-time favorite like cartoon intros. Ever.
Here's what I don't get about Men in Black, and it took me so long to figure out that this bothered me. The part where Jay is getting his first weapon, and Kay scolds him, and is like, "Nah, you know that's a big boy gun. Here, take this." And he hands him the noisy cricket, which is the humor is that it's small, and therefore you can make fun of it. It's also the most dangerous gun there because it can blow entire
Yes.
like buildings apart. So why the fuck would Kay give him the noisy cricket instead of a normal gun?
The entire idea is like looks can be deceiving. Like that's everything that Men in Black is trying to show you.
Yeah,
Okay, but Kay knew what it was.
Yeah.
So why would he give it to the rookie?
What difference does it make which extremely dangerous weapon he gives them?
Well, I assume the other guns aren't going to blast. I mean, you remember when Kay shot Tony Shalhoub in the head? He didn't blow the entire building apart with it. So why would he give Jay the fucking planet killer?
to temper him.
Look,
He had
I'm
to show him that he couldn't just constantly pull the trigger.
I'm splitting hairs here is what I'm doing. Like, in all honesty, it's just something that always, like, I never thought of it until years later. I was like, wait, why did he give him the noisy cricket? He could have given him like a Derringer, or
Yeah, he was tempering him. He
22.
had to show him again that looks can be deceiving, and that he needed to like not constantly want to pull the trigger.
Didn't they also say there's a part where he says, I'm pretty sure he says Corellian, didn't he? He's like, there's always something.
He uses something as Corellian. Yeah.
That's a Star Wars reference.
I I think I mentioned it when we did the movie quotes, but one of my all-time favorite quotes, and it's actually two things back to back, comes from that. When Kate says, "A person is smart, people are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it."
Yeah.
1,500 years ago, everyone knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everyone knew the Earth was flat. 15 minutes ago, you knew humans were alone on the planet. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
That's a good quote.
That's just a great fucking quote, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I love it.
Great movie.
That I always forget about the part with the big cop in the beginning. He's like, he tells him, 5 minutes, try your best, tough guy, and Jay just goes, 5 minutes on a Stairmaster, you pudgy bastard. That always cracks me up.
Oh, all the exchanges he has, even after he has to justify his shooting range stuff. That's what a great one. Why is she walking around with these quantum physics books at this
Those
time?
books are way too advanced for her. And I'm not going to
see my
shoot
man
him.
holding tissue. He's just getting ready to sneeze. And how would I feel if I had a cold and somebody tried to bust a cap in my ass?
And this dude, he's just doing some pull-ups. If I was in the gym,
Just working out.
Yeah. Hunter, it's your turn, I think.
Okay, well, mine keep getting taken, and I was holding off. I didn't want to do this, but Tombstone. I'm taking Tombstone.
I had to back up, fucker.
I've been avoiding it for a while.
I was waiting to see who dropped it first.
I was shocked that it lasted this long.
Well, I was too, and I was thinking if it makes it to the last round and I have enough stuff that I still want to use, but I had Men in Black and some other things taken from me, so Tombstone. I mean, it's the cowboy movie. I don't give a shit about John Wayne. I don't fucking care about any of those old school westerns.
I don't give a shit about John Wayne.
Don't even begin to care. Tombstone is the western. Unforgiven is a solid runner-up, but it is the gap is pretty wide.
Yeah,
Tombstone
I'm really
is
not
just so good.
Really not all that big into westerns. Tombstone is one of three that I really enjoy. Not just that, like it's one of my favorite films of all time as well.
Same. It's top 5 for me.
What gets me is for many years I remember that the narrative was that Tombstone is a great action movie that's just kind of like got a western setting. It's really not. Like it's very historically accurate in a lot of ways. It very much plays up that time in the life of those guys and what they were doing. Sure, it's not totally accurate, and it is very much kind of an action
dramatized
with some drama around it. Yeah, sure. And to be fair, if I criticize it for anything, the last like 15 minutes of that movie, I could chop it off. From the time that they finish up the gunfight and all the kind of
after the shootout, OK Corral.
Yeah,
like
I don't really need the whole horse ride with Wyatt and the woman and all that. Like,
he's coming
for me. Yeah.
That and the part where Wyatt's in the stream and he just goes, "No."
That was pretty good,
though. That's such a great bit. I still need it because hell, when we played, I've got a great clip of us playing Red Dead where we were fighting some dudes for some mission. I'm legitimately in a stream with a fucking sawed-off shotgun going, "No!" It's just great. It's great stuff.
It's still not as good as the all-time greatest.
Incredible cast.
The greatest Red Dead clip when you and I are up in that poker table and that guy's standing there. He didn't acknowledge us, and we fucking blew him apart.
We just ended his day, and then we ended our day on the game.
We turned his head into a canoe.
Real fast. God, another great quotable movie, a great movie with tons of incredible actors in it.
Val Kilmer as one of the most iconic characters of all time in Doc Holliday.
Seriously.
Compare that to that fucking Kevin Costner version of Wyatt Earp with, I love Dennis Quaid, but Dennis Quaid is no Doc Holliday compared to Val Kilmer.
No.
Yeah.
Wild Bill, or I mean not Wild Bill, Curly Bill. The actor's name is escaping me.
Powers Booth, yeah.
God, he was so incredible in that role.
Fucking Michael Biehn as Johnny Ringo. Like, everyone always talks about Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, but like the bad guys were also just as fucking good.
Yes.
And there's so many great actors that I didn't know were in that movie until I got older and I went back and watched it. Thomas Hayden Church is in it. Stephen Lang is in it. It's just so good, man. On every level.
Just hit after hit after hit.
Yeah. Dana
Sam
Delaney.
Elliott. I mean, we didn't even mention Sam Elliott.
Fucking Jason Priestley, who I only knew from Beverly Hills 90210 was in the fucking film. Billy Zane. Oh, it's so good.
I think he's wonderful. Prettiest man I ever saw.
What do you think, Billy Nilly? All right.
He's wonderful.
I know I said earlier that I'm not into Tim Burton films, but the next movie on my list is Sleepy Hollow. I love
That was a good movie.
I
I
love
enjoyed
Sleepy
Sleepy
Hollow. I actually have the original script book for it. I
I
love
was
it
gonna
so
say
much.
that's when you have the hardback script
Yeah.
for.
I was obsessed with that movie. Johnny Depp in that movie, especially as Ichabod Crane. Like, I just wanted to model myself after him. The way he dressed, the hair. Like, I just thought he was so cool. Christina Ricci, I always crushed the crush button once again. And then Christopher Walken as the Hessian. I mean, like, oh my god, it's so good on some of the. Fucking Casper Van Dien is in that movie. One of my all time favorite actors, never gets enough credit. That movie is just really, really good, and it has just enough of the Tim Burton vibe to give it kind of that spooky feel, but it's not so Tim Burton-ish. Because this, I think, was the first movie with Johnny Depp, was there? Was Edward Scissorhands was the first one, and this was the second
Edward
one,
Scissorhands
right?
would have been there. Before.
Yeah, this is before Tim Burton went off the fucking rails, and I just stopped enjoying his films. So
I'm pretty sure Ed Wood came before Sleepy Hollow.
I forgot about Ed Wood. I'll be honest with you.
I also forgot that movie.
That's also a really good movie. Don't get me wrong. 94, and I think Sleepy Hollow was 95 or 96. It was 99.
I used to know the whole
Oh, wow.
chronological of them, but yeah.
It's all right. Point is, Sleepy Hollow is a really good film. It's gory as fuck. Like, it's so bloody.
Yep.
It's just really, really good. Anyway, let's go to Lindsay.
My next one is Girl Interrupted.
Was that?
Winona Ryder,
Angelina
Angelina Jolie,
Jolie?
Brittany
Yeah.
Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a really good one. I didn't watch it at the time because I'm a boy and I thought that was a girl movie.
I didn't discover it till a few years into college, as far as that goes. But like, the parts that always stick out in my mind is once Brittany Murphy's character has her own apartment and they've all like ran away from the mental institution.
Which, I know it's gonna sound weird, but doesn't one of them die?
Yep, they mess with Brittany Murphy's character enough that she ends up hanging herself.
Yeah, yeah. That's I don't like that.
Yep.
Ugh.
Because they wake up that her record keeps playing over and over and over again. And they don't realize that she's upstairs, no longer with them.
Yeah. Well. Ugh. Ugh. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to Shelby. Shelby, last one. Make us happy, please.
Okay. Fern Gully. That's the happiest one I have on my list.
That one's probably pretty happy.
So that is an animated
Good
film
curated
about
film.
like a bunch of fairies and creatures in the woods that are trying to defend their forest from being cut down by this lumbering company. And it's basically a giant movie about like how industrial waste and
It's a big old environmental save the rainforest film.
Oh, that
It's
hippie.
With
you
Tim
have that's the
Curry
last of the
and
Mohicans
Robin
in the
Williams.
Avatar.
yeah, and Robin Williams was baddie, so he was the voice for baddie.
I'm tired of
Really
this
good.
this fucking left wing liberal
I
woke
knew.
bullshit.
I knew. Can we briefly talk about how uncomfortably sexual that Tim Curry song is in that movie?
Toxic
Like,
Love.
I
Wait,
remember
what?
when it came up. Yeah. Do yourself a favor, Shannon. Look up the song that Tim Curry sings in that movie. Because I mentioned that to Sarah one time, and she was like, "Oh, this explains an awful lot about my interest in Tim Curry." she has mentioned more than once. She's like, "I had a massive crush on that guy when I was a kid," and I brought up that song, and she goes, "Oh my god, I forgot this existed. This is unlocking an awful lot of stuff." He's just like a villainous, poisonous, like sludge cloud
Yeah.
of stuff.
He's literally
But
like a
that
sludge
song
monster.
is just like,
Oh my god!
way too
Listen to
sexy.
this.
There it is.
Listen to this.
Yeah.
I see
We
the world.
know.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I see the world and all the creatures in it. I suck them dry and spit them out like spinach. I feel the power. It's growing by the minute, and pretty soon you're going to see me wallow in it. I feel good. A special kind of horny.
And mind you, this whole thing is very like slow, sensual jazz.
Yeah, you
music.
need to
It's,
hear
like,
it. I was
playing.
gonna say, just read the lyrics. You got to understand the music that goes along with it, and then imagine Tim
And the
Curry
animation
singing it.
too.
Wow.
It is
Wow.
an experience, to say the least.
Yeah,
Oh, all right, Shelby, you filthy, filthy person.
I
Let's
appear
go.
to have also unlocked something in Shannon. It seems.
Oh, Let's go on to Jesse. Jesse, you fix it.
Oh, okay.
She failed.
All right. Okay. I really thought that more of my movies would have been taken by now. I have so many left that I really like and would want on this list.
You had a couple.
I figure we're doing some honorable mentions when this is all done. So
Okay. Well, so everybody knows a Goofy movie was my favorite from the '90s. So I'm not even gonna talk about that one because we've talked about it to death. Instead, I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna go with Basketball.
I
Wake up.
remember that one.
Wake up, bitch!
For
You're my new best
somebody-
friend.
for somebody who is as obsessed with South Park as I was, I have seen Basketball like one time and never went back for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Oh God, that was one of those movies that like my little brother and I rented it over and over and over again back in the '90s. And keep in mind, when this movie came out, like what year did it come out? Like '90.
It played on Encore all
Hey,
the
okay.
damn time.
Pretty
So
late,
I've seen it
98,
more
99.
times than I would like to admit that I've seen it.
So it came out in '98, and that means that like I would have been 10 years old. Jake would have been like 8 or 9, and so like there's a lot of the stuff in this that went way over our heads. I rewatched it again like 3 or 4 years ago and laughed even harder than I did as a kid in the '90s because it still holds up. It's still pretty funny. I mean, yeah, it was the '90s, so there's some jokes that aren't great anymore. But or at least there are jokes in there that are more harmful than I realized in the '90s. But it's still just it's a very, very fun movie. I mean, like there's a lot of stuff about like gays and Jews.
Oh, say no more. Say less.
But yeah, no, it's still a very, very funny movie. I enjoyed the absolute fuck out of that movie in the '90s.
I also really like Basketball, and I was not a fan of South Park, so it was one of my favorite comedies back then. Jenny McCarthy, I had a huge crush on her, obviously. So that played a big part in it, too. I didn't know what she would become one day. So, a little unfortunate there. Let's go on to Hunter.
This is probably the only one on my list that would not be on anyone else's because I don't think anybody else here even likes Jim Carrey. But Liar Liar is one of my all-time favorite comedies.
Liar Liar's a good one.
I like Jim
love that
Carrey, but
movie.
I've never seen it.
The pen is blue.
Liar, if you've never seen, if you've never seen Liar Liar, it's definitely worth a spin. It is distinctly Jim Carrey. I mean, it's pretty much his coming out phase. So it's him just like the movie poster is just him like this. Like, I mean, it's very much born on his back. But the premise is silly, and yet it works because it's fun. I remember seeing it the day that it came out and having to sit in the front row because I could not get a better seat, and I did not care. I had a crick in my neck when I went home that day, but it was worth it. God, it to this day, it is one of my all-time favorite comedies. It's just fucking funny. It's hilarious, and only Jim Carrey could really have pulled off this specific role in the way they wanted him to do it. So
not bad for
it's like
the white guy from In Living Color.
It's pretty wholesome. Like,
well,
okay. So the only part I remember about that movie,
the premise is
there's a part of that movie. The only part I can remember is I saw it in the previews a million times. He's in the elevator with like a large-chested woman. And she's talking about how everyone's real nice to her. And he says something, but I've never known what the quote is because I've never watched it.
Well, that's because you have huge jugs. And then he stops himself and he goes, I mean, your boobs are huge. And then he stops himself and goes, I mean, I want to squeeze them. And he just keeps making it work.
Lord.
To the moment that when the doors open back, you hear like the slap and he comes out holding his cheek.
It was Krista Allen for anybody.
The outtakes for that movie are almost as funny as the actual movie, and they play them over the credits like they did it in the theater too, which is also great.
Overactor.
There's Jazz on Bell. He didn't know it was coming. There's a moment where he grabs the water container, he's trying to pour water, and he realizes it looks like a mouth, and so suddenly he just makes it start going, for this, you will pay a terrible price, and people are just losing it. Yeah, there's a moment, like Jesse says, is wholesome. The premise is, but there's a moment where he's like suddenly encouraged to tell everyone in the boardroom what he thinks about them, and so of course he can't not. And he says something about an older guy named Simmons. Simmons is old. He should have been out of the game years ago, but his wife makes him come to those Christmas parties, where she gets plastered and calls everyone an R word.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. What's up, Fletcher? Your cholesterol, fatty, dead man walking.
fuck.
It's just,
it's
just pretty rough. I mean, you should watch it at least once if you can find it streaming on something, because I always thought it was hilarious just for it's his reactions to him saying something very earnestly and then me like trying to get it out of his system. Like, why did I do that?
I also just really liked Jim Carrey in the 90s. Like,
I did too. I
I've
Dumb and
never
Dumber
liked,
was great.
I've never
As
liked
a
Jim
kid,
Carrey. I've always
as a
found him
kid, I
obnoxious.
absolutely did.
Same.
Well, you couldn't sanction his buffoonery.
I am Tommy Lee Jones. I am the crotchety old millennial, according to Jesse, old ass millennial who doesn't get jokes.
Importantly, Jim Carrey as the Riddler in that film was a major draw for me and my little brother because we really, really liked Jim Carrey back
and that's 100% why they cast him.
That was the extreme
the
Joker.
only time that Riddler had ever been. Yeah, I was going to say he was far more Joker than he was any kind of Riddler.
Yeah.
To this
Still
day,
better
we
than
really
Paul
have not had
Dano.
a classic. I was gonna say we have not really had a classic Riddler on screen outside of like the Batman
Frank
66
Gorshin
movie.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean the Jim Carrey one is basically like you said, extreme Joker. The Paul Dano one is murderer, serial killer.
Right, not the Riddler, but I still liked him.
Different.
I still liked it,
yeah.
but
But we've yet to find that perfect balance of, green bowler hat and suit, but also kind of scary, but also here's the
animated series. I know that's the cheat code. Animated series.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say on the big screen, like live action. We haven't found that yet.
Yeah, I remember Robin Williams was in talk to play him a long time ago before Jim Carrey got the role.
That would have been very cool.
Yeah,
I would have enjoyed that.
Anyway, hey,
I'm thinking 1 hour photo Robin Williams, but he's the Riddler.
I'm thinking my last pick, no one else would pick either, and I don't think anyone else has seen but me. Maybe Hunter. And that is the classic Robert Rodriguez film, Desperado.
I have seen that movie. You and
I have,
made me
but
watch
it's a one-time deal. I've definitely seen it once.
My God, I love this movie. It is such a good Western, and it introduced me to so many people I adore. Antonio Banderas as the guitar playing gunslinger it's just such a good fucking movie. It's a sort of remake of El Mariachi, which I think was Robert Rodriguez's first film. Steve Buscemi's in it. Danny Trejo. It's the first time I ever saw Trejo, and then he played himself in every movie following this.
Yes,
he's just Trejo in every film. Cheech Marin is in it. Salma Hayek. It was the first time I ever saw Salma Hayek. I mean, it's just so good. And the fact that the dude just carries a guitar full of guns around, I mean, it's just gunslinging action. I always wanted to be Antonio Banderas, but there are so many reasons I won't be. He's so fucking good. And not only is that movie,
I was just going to say Hispanic.
So that's one of the reasons.
One of the many, we got there.
That movie was followed up by Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which had Johnny Depp in it. It's okay. It's not as good as Desperado. Desperado's still the best. But I had never known Antonio Banderas before this, and Hunter, to bring this into SNL, do you remember an SNL skit they would do all the time with fucking, who played Antonio Banderas in the SNL skits? Do you remember?
I remember somebody doing the, too sexy.
It was fucking Chris Kattan played Antonio Banderas.
Oh, my God. Oh.
And then he
hosted his own talk show, right? It was
Yeah.
the Antonio Banderas, how do you say?
Yes.
Show.
And it was Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands as the band. And every time he started taking his shirt off, they'd be like, no, too sexy, too sexy. And then they start strumming. It's so fucking funny. I love it. All right, Lindsay, just finish this off.
I'm going to finish this off with the one you probably all expected from the beginning.
Fraggle
Bill
Rock.
and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh, yeah, that one.
One movie that I rented more than anything in the 90s.
Is that the one where they meet the Grim Reaper?
Yes.
All right.
Because originally it was going to be titled Bill and Ted Go to Hell, but it obviously got changed.
I did not know this. I found this out the other day, and I sent it to Lindsay. She did not care, but I thought it was cool. And that was Bill and Ted exists in the same universe as Tales from the Crypt. Because there's I think it's like season 6, there's an episode where the Crypt Keeper is talking to the Grim Reaper, played by William Sadler, the exact same character from Bill and Ted, dressed the same, talks the same. It's very, very funny. And I had to look up a clip from Bill and Ted just to make absolutely sure I wasn't crazy. Lindsay looks like she's crazy right now. She's looking around like she's heard a
hear the
ghost.
cat's making a noise, and it's a noise they should not be making, and I'm concerned.
All right, well,
You just had one of them.
he just had one of them.
And there she goes.
All right, well,
You get away from me very quickly.
Bill and Ted, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it for us tonight. I'm surprised Tanner didn't show up.
I'm just gonna say names real quick because there's so many things that I didn't mention, like Wild Wild West, which I skipped because of Men in Black. Can't Hardly Wait, which I just realized I put on here twice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The Starship Troopers, Shannon. Starship Troopers
Yeah.
didn't get mentioned.
That's one of my...
The Fifth Element, I thought, was one that I almost brought up.
It was pretty good.
The Negotiator. Spacey
Was
is the
Spacey
only reason I don't think of the
Jackson?
Negotiator anymore. Yeah, Sam Jackson and Kevin Spacey.
I mean,
great action.
I mean, fuck. From Dusk Till Dawn. Cable
I
Guy.
really assumed
surprised.
you were going to mention that one.
Yeah, because that one was on my list too, as well as Wild Wild West. And the fact that neither of you said From Dusk Till Dawn or Wild Wild West surprised the shit out of me.
Because
I
there's
didn't
too
see
many
From Dusk
good
Till Dawn
movies.
until years later. And Wild Wild West, when you mentioned Men in Black, I was like, we got our Will Smith fix here.
Small
Let that one
Soldiers.
slide.
That was a good one. I liked that movie a lot as a kid.
I liked that the first time I saw it, but I remember seeing it multiple times afterward and going, "This is real stupid."
Rush Hour.
That was good.
Clueless.
There's also
Yeah, all right,
Clerks.
I'm in a weird vocal minority where I like the second Rush Hour movie better than the first one. I think the second one's funnier, but that's just me. Clerks. I also kind of like the second Clerks better than the first one. I know that's blasphemy.
We missed a
but
big
No,
one.
that's not blasphemy. I actually like
Teenage Mutant
Clerks
Ninja
2
Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
That surprised me. I know Shelby had Princess Mononoke on her list, but didn't mention it. Blade
Purposely
didn't
didn't
come
put
up.
anything animated on mine.
Let me throw one out there that some of you have probably seen that I absolutely adore. Empire Records. Damn the man.
Yes.
Save the Empire.
Robin Hood Men in Tights didn't come up, and that surprised me a little.
Well, it's because Tanner's not here.
yeah,
Oh,
he would. I think we spiritually assumed Tanner was going to mention that one. Then
Yeah.
he didn't show up.
Hold on.
God, I love that fucking movie.
Reservoir Dogs.
Shannon, I got one
Same
for you.
link.
While
Reservoir
you were sleeping.
Dogs. Oh, while you were sleeping. It's the movie that made me
Oh,
realize I was straight. Sandra Bullock.
He was on the fence, and that tipped him over.
So,
It was
Pulp
the movie
Fiction.
that made his dad go.
whew. If there were two women in the 90s that made me realize that I wanted to fall in love with a girl, it was Sandra Bullock and Samantha Mathis. And they were in a movie together.
Winona Ryder, you just mentioned her.
Yes, she's fantastic, but I'm talking about my top tier talent. Sandra Bullock and Samantha Mathis. Part of the reason
I see.
part of the reason I
You
watched
put
Super
Winona
Mario
Ryder on
Brothers,
the bench.
she's a backup. She's a bench warmer. I watched Mario Brothers partially because of Samantha Mathis as Princess Daisy. I mean, please,
Yeah, that's fair.
please.
And in Shannon's defense too, like the Sandra Bullock line, like that has not changed. That has been consistent the entire time
yeah.
I've known him.
Sandra Bullock will
Yeah,
always
that
be
one-
my number one crush, and she still is. I love Sandra Bullock, and her and Samantha Mathis were in a couple movies together, and I think they were friends. And I wish I had friends. That's gonna do it for us tonight. What?
We're right here, you motherfucker.
That looked like
All of
Samantha
us.
Mathis.
I'm sorry, I can't be her for you, Shannon.
All right,
I try my best.
you got married. All right, that's it for us
He's
tonight.
bringing it full circle. When I came in, he said that he was waiting to, what was it? Get after me, get on me.
Yeah,
Something like
I was
that.
waiting to get up in you.
There it is.
Get that stone out. All right, that's gonna do it for us tonight.
Oh.
We're gonna be back sometime next week, or according to Dave Meltzer, we might not be. He doesn't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? For now, though, thank you guys for tuning in. We're back for now. Let's see what happens. For myself and for Jesse, for Shelby, for Lindsay, for Hunter, and for Tanner not being here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week with all new episodes. Until then, Shelby.
Oh,
Shelby.
Shannon.
Say the line, Shelby. Do the line, Shelby.
I
Just
can
say bye
see
to the
her
kids.
saying no, and I can't hear it.
Hey, Jim.